Hello.
Hey, Dad, good morning. Do you get to watch that Yankee Dodger World Series last night?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I watched most of it. I didn't miss hardly any. It was a good game to watch.
Yeah, what'd you think of the ending there? Freddie Freeman, huh?
Yeah, he couldn't pick a better time to be a hero in L.A., could you?
Yeah, the first walk-off grand slam. That was quite the shot. Who could you relate to the pitcher who threw that? The first pitch, he just knocked it out of there.
I don't know who it was. I'd seen it, but I don't know who was pitching. They had brought in several relievers by that time.
So that was quite a night in L.A. there, where you pitched back in '58. So. Hey, I'm talking to Fred Kipp, the last Yankee Dodger. We call him that because there's only 5 Brooklyn Dodgers still living, and he's the only one who played for the Yankees too. So that makes him the last Yankee Dodger. Played for both of these storied teams in the golden era of baseball in the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, let's go back to talk about the 1956 World Series, the first one you were involved with. But let's start at spring training. The Dodgers won in 1955, and then you showed up in spring training there in '56. Tell us about that.
See, they used to come to spring training, and they mingled with all the lowly minor leaguers or the coaches and whatever. They had a big lobby there, and the O'Malleys hung out in there. 2 or 3 bridge games going, and some of the other guys played something else. I know there were pool tables in there, I think, but it was kind of a big lobby. But we ate all our meals right there, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
You're talking about Vero Beach spring training,
yeah.
Right? No,
yeah, right.
And there were 17 minor league teams at that time. So you were talking hundreds of players, and then you're saying the owners and the major leaguers were all there. That's what made it
special.
The
coaches and the coaches for all the minor leagues. Yeah, you just got to know everybody, and most of the minor leaguers, they may not knew the big league players, but they were rubbing shoulders with them and, get in conversations with them or in a group of guys. They kind of fixed up. It was an old naval pilot training place, but they fixed up 2 or 3 barracks for the staff, Brooklyn, and mainly for the players that played in Brooklyn. The big club had. Then they went to Miami and played their exhibition games.
Yeah, so you grew up with the Dodgers. Then you went to the Yankees though, and what was the spring training there like? Do you remember that? All the roughhousing around and that?
The first night I was there, who was the big guy with the glasses, the relief pitcher? Oh,
you're talking about Ryan Duran, right?
Yeah, Duran, yeah. He was kind of famous, but first night I was there, he threw a chair out of the window in the front part of the motel. They never stayed all together. They stayed in St. Petersburg. They were off by themselves. They didn't train around any of the players. So as minor leaguers, you didn't associate much with the Yankee main club. It just didn't happen that much. So in '56, spring training, I know they had me go to Miami with them. They were short on pitchers. They needed a left-handed pitcher. I don't know whether it was in spring training.
Yeah, you pitched against the exhibition game against the Yankees, right? And Yogi Berra came up to the plate, and what happened?
Yeah, I think he hit one over the center field wall.
Yeah, he was good at that. I know in the book you said, The Last Yankee Dodger, you said you pitched it low and outside, and he reached it and popped it right out of there. Well,
he didn't get the Lone Ranger. He did that to a lot of pitchers.
Yeah. So yeah, that basically sent you up to Montreal for the year. So you missed the chance to play with the Dodgers that year. But then you were Rookie of the Year up in Montreal playing against Satchel Paige and some others. You got any stories from Montreal?
Greg Levy was the manager, and we had Rocky Nelson on first. George Anderson, Sparky, whatever you want. He played second base. We had a good ball club for a while, and then they kind of took Chico Fernandez away and sold him to Detroit, I think. And we was really a good ball club for a while in Montreal in '56, and they took some of the better players out of there, and we weren't quite as good.
Then you went up to join the Dodgers when they're in the pennant race after September, for the last couple of weeks.
They had signed Magley. Magley pitched a no-hitter against Philly, and he was pitching real good right then. I don't know, he won 3 or 4 games, but he was a key pitcher in that end of '56.
Why'd they call him the Barber?
Because he talked a lot.
Yeah.
That's the main reason that I heard.
I heard it was because he did so many brushback pitches, he'd give you a close shave. But
that made a good story. But basically, he talked quite a bit, and he used to talk. And I remember him saying, we have a pitchers meeting and with the coaches, and we'd have all kinds of indicators and signals. He says, I don't want any of that stuff. I just want 1's a fastball and 2's a curve. I'll take care of the rest.
So he only had 2 pitches and the brushback, I guess, huh?
Yeah, he used, he brushed guys back. I remember Campanella kind of complaining about Bagley would knock you down twice and make his pitch on the low outside corner. He could throw the ball right where he wanted to. He had a real crooked back, scoliosis. His back was in really bad shape, but he could still really pitch. Threw a little curveball and a sinking fastball. Not real hard, but he threw the ball right where he wanted to all the time.
So, yeah, great control, huh?
Yeah.
You won the pennant in the last game of the season. Do you remember the celebrations there? And
I think we were in Ebbets Field, but I remember Roger Craig and somebody was down. We was down the bullpen. It was a little old, kind of a cubby hole down in right field. And I remember the guys saying, grab your glove and your hat because the fans will steal them from you. So you grab them and put them in your hand. You didn't wear them, because they'd grab them right off your head and run.
Yeah, and they ripped your pocket off your pants too, didn't they?
I don't remember that, but they weren't real polite about what they did.
Yeah, so all the fans, they rushed in, and they said the symphony or the little orchestra or whatever that they played in Ebbets Field went into the clubhouse too, and to celebrate with you all is what I was just reading in the book.
I don't remember that, but I'm sure it happened probably.
What can you tell us about Ebbets Field? How about the right field wall, or how'd they play that?
See, it was a pretty small park. Left field went, it was about, 329 or 340 right down the line, but it went straight across to center. Most of the home runs were hit in the left center. And then right field, they had the bottom of the wall about 10 foot up. It sloped. Well, the upper part sloped away from the infield. It was concrete, solid concrete. And if you hit that with a line drive, I remember Sandy Amorose hit it, a line drive, and it ended up over behind third base. He got an inside the park home run, hit a line drive off that bottom of that wall.
What about your fielders, though? They knew how to play it, huh?
Yeah, well, Ferrella would back up to the bottom of the scoreboard or that concrete wall, and Snyder would come over and play the ricochet off of however that went. That scoreboard was 30 or probably 40 foot tall, and all kinds of angles and slopes on it. You didn't never know how it was going to come off of that scoreboard. Would it drop straight down or deflect clear back over in center field or what? You just didn't know. Snyder and Ferrello, they handled it as good as anybody could. Back
to the World Series, then the 56 World Series, 68 years ago you were playing there. So game 1, Sal won it, and then the next game...
Who won it? Who won
Sal
that?
Magley.
Okay.
Magley. So, he was their starter. Played against Whitey Ford and won that game. You got to play with Whitey Ford too. Do you got any stories about him?
Not too much. No, he was a real good control pitcher, talky, but he could pitch, and he always played with the Yankees, a good ball club. But a lot of guys tried to do that. They didn't win like he did. He was a good left-handed pitcher.
Speaking of good left-handed pitchers, you had Sandy Koufax on your team too, but this was before he hit his stride, really, right? What can you say about Sandy back in those days at Brooklyn still?
I don't know what year he signed. It was probably 53, probably 54, give or take a year. He got a bonus, but he had to stay with the big club because he got, I think it was $100,000 at that time to sign, and you couldn't farm the guy out. He had to stay on the big league roster. That was the rule. And when we went to Japan in '56, he didn't go. He played winter ball in Puerto Rico. Now, I don't know how much he pitched down there. I don't know, but he learned to pitch in the big leagues. He didn't. I was the left-handed designated batting practice pitcher, I think, but there's probably a right-hander, but I don't remember who that was.
But you had a bucket of balls, and you had to throw 100 pitches in 20 minutes or so, huh? So
yeah, you threw them pretty fast, pretty regular. You wanted to throw strikes so they could get their timing. That's basically what you take batting practice for, is to get your mechanics down and your timing a little bit.
So the Dodgers won the first 2 games in the '56 World Series. Then you went to the Yankee Stadium. Game 5 was when Don Larsen took the mound. Can you tell us about that fateful day?
Went over there with the club and rode the bus over there. I sat in the stands, and they give me a seat right behind a post. The Yankees give me a seat right behind a post. I couldn't see the hitter and the catcher, if I didn't reach clear around it. So I'd have been better off staying in the clubhouse and watch it on TV. You
remember the tension in the game, though? Or, what was the fans must have been going crazy to see a perfect game, huh? Or was it boring?
I don't remember too much about that. He was just cruising along, and all of a sudden, he, popped up in the 6th, 7th, or 8th inning and had a perfect game going, I guess. He was a big, probably 225, 6'4", 6'5". He had good pitching tools. He had good fastball, good breaking ball.
I remember you said once you were playing with the Yankees that you talked to him about that game and whatnot, or what would he say about how he pitched that day?
I don't remember talking to him about that, but I remember talking to Padres about the 1955. He won 2 games, I think, that year. That's the first time the Dodgers had ever won a pennant. And he said, they told me to throw right down the middle. And he says, I hit the corners all night. Typical left-handed pitcher from he grew up in New York somewhere, not in New York City.
You going to watch the Dodgers? They're playing again tomorrow night, huh? So who are you going to root for?
I'm still prejudiced Dodgers.
Should we sign off with a Go Dodgers?
That's good enough for me. I like to see them win.
All right. Go Dodgers. All right. Love you, Dad. Talk to you later.
Love you. Talk to you later. Bye.